What has been the biggest challenge in your first 3 months as CEO?
I forget what I told you I was going to answer to this. My brain is shut down. My biggest challenge. I know what it was. I had to. You all may know this about me, but I'm an accountant. And I really love numbers. And I really love graphs. And I really love data. I love to know that we're good, but I want evidence that we're good. I don't want you to tell me we're good. I don't want you to wiggle around saying we are good. Well, prove it to me. And so therefore, I kind of wallow in details. And so I had to I haven't done that yet. You know that, Joe, right? I'm trying so hard. But I have to shed myself of the desire to go deep. And so occasionally I will. And then you can remind me that I'm not supposed to do this. But my biggest aha moment, I had to quit doing everything that brought me here. So I have been working 32 years. I spent my entire 32 years thinking about how to optimize and set these kind of measurable goals and then dive deep, analyze. And the new job requires me to communicate, to relate, to share, to listen, to frankly, don't suggest that you have all the answers, but try and elicit all the answers. And it's very, very different. And so as I think about these first 90 days, what I've been trying to do is just communicate, perhaps only so far in a very light way. I make myself available. Most of the people that know me well, probably we met at the bathroom or something, or I've seen you someplace, I'm just talkative no matter where I am. I don't care where you engage me. You can talk to me anytime. I mean, I probably could have a bad day, and that wouldn't be a good day to talk to me. Occasionally that happens. But I really think that the new job that I have is to relate and to listen. And I will tell you that I didn't know it was capitalized before, but there's a concept called shared leadership. And I think of that as shared leadership with a small s and a small l, meaning it's not a perfect definition. It's just the idea that Mark Ricketts is not going to come up with all the great answers. It's not going to happen. But if I share that with you, and I engage your hearts and minds in what we do as an organization, and your hearts and minds are really engaged, because I know some days you come, and frankly, you're looking at your watch, and all you want to do is leave. That's okay, I've been like that. But if I can engage your hearts and minds in what we do, and you begin to say, you really want to know my opinion, Mark? You're really sharing your leadership? Well, it's not democratic. I'm not intending to have a vote on what we'll do next. But I really do want to share with you the challenges that we see ahead, like the one I just shared about the fact that we're growing old in America, and it's way too expensive to grow old, and nobody's saved. And then I want to say with you, will you help me solve that? And if your hearts and minds are engaged in that, then you're going to say, yeah, I want to be, is he really asking me? Yes, he is. Now my hearts and minds in it, and then you're going to say, well, let me daydream about this with you, Mark. Let me toss some ideas in. Now we're getting someplace, right? And if a group of you are together, kind of maybe in a huddle, talking about how you can do things differently or better, and collectively, just a small group begins to change their behaviors. And then because of your changed behavior, maybe a new system or something, hey, I can wander. I don't have to stand behind that thing. Just realized I have a lavalier. I can do that. What was I saying? Hearts and minds. So you're working together as a team, and your behaviors all change because this little subset over here wants to do things different. And then you get different outcomes. And then you share with somebody above you, hey, we were just toying around with the stuff Mark's asking us to do, shared leadership, and we got a great idea. We'd like to share that up through the organization, and somehow it filters up. Probably won't get to me, but it might get to Kim Spidell or this new guy, Keith Spalsbury, and they think, hey, that's a great idea. Let's share that across. That's shared leadership. It's not top down, it's bottom up. Now, does that mean that all of you have the best ideas? Perhaps not, but I can tell you, if you incubate the best idea and you tell her, tell him, and you all kind of get excited about it before you know it, you know what you're saying? We've got better ideas, Mark, if you would just buy this system or buy this extra tool or this new internet device, I think we could really change this company. Now, how is that different than another management style? Another management style would say, I know what's best for you, children. I have gone off to some conference. I heard somebody talk about the new way of delivering health care. I bought it. I gave it to Kim and to Keith, and I told them how to change you. Don't work, does it? That's top down. All you're thinking about is how in the world I can make this fail, because Ricketts doesn't know what he's talking about. He should have asked me. Now, how many people have had those thoughts before over the last 15 years? Frankly, I've led that way. If you've been under my leadership, I've had moments where I have told you what to do, and I regret it. So the improvement in my character really has come as a result. I call it the divas. Sorry to bring that up, but there's about 4 women in this room that worked for me for like 10 years. And what I really started doing was just telling them what I thought a problem was and getting out of the room, because I ruined their ideas with mine. And when they would get done and share with me what they had worked on as an idea, I go, oh, that's so good. And I didn't have to think of it, right? It didn't have to be on me. So I would tell you the real, what was the question?
Biggest challenge.
Biggest challenge is to learn to be communicative like this instead of sitting in my office and thinking about what has to get better and has to be all on me. That is petrifying. It keeps you up at night. And I've had those. When something goes wrong in a given community, I cannot sleep because I feel like it's my fault. And I got to think of something. I'm sharing that with you. All right? Next question.
Okay. Mark, this is the number 1 question that's being
crud.
asked. It is, what is Mission Forward?
Wow. All right, so I'll give you, in the healthcare world, this is where it started. This is the incubation of it. In the space that we used to call healthcare, we now call senior living. I took over that some 18 months ago. And as I listened, and frankly, I had to learn a lot of words. I don't even think I knew the difference between Medicare and Medicaid about 3 years ago. But the clear problem that I saw there was, I think it was Joe Whiteman that said to me, Riverside is interviewing all of the long-term care providers to decide who's going to be in their network and who's not going to be in their network. And I said, what do you mean who's in, who's not? Well, there are 200 nursing homes in Columbus, Ohio, maybe more, 220. And Riverside was going to narrow their number of referring, so they would discharge people from a hospital into a nursing home. They were going to narrow that down to 16. 16. What do you think I thought about for the next 6.5 weeks? If I am not on that list of the Sweet 16, I don't get any patients. And if I don't get any patients, we're toast. Did you feel that too? Well, how do you get on the top 16? That is all about measuring quality. Apparently, there's a way. I'm thinking to myself, there must be a way to measure quality, right? In nursing homes. What's the difference between the bedpans? I mean, they're all bedpans. Do the beds go up and different? Do they both have front doors? I mean, what's the difference? And so I've spent the last 18 months thinking about that. And then at the same time, we had a board member, Dr. Terry Davis, said, if you don't establish quality, you'll be left behind in the world of healthcare. So I'm hearing this noise, and I don't understand it. And so Terry Davis said, this is Dr. Terry Davis, you all must invest in quality or you'll be an afterthought. Wow. That's panicking me, and I'm in charge, and I don't know how to react. So we brought in some consultants to talk to us about what it would look like to improve quality. And they brought this guy in who was like a rocket scientist. I don't even know his name. I think he was a nuclear physicist talking to us about quality. And he was saying, you know, when you're doing nuclear power generation, what's the one thing that can never happen? An accident. I mean, it's not okay to have just one. I mean, just one occasionally. You can't have any events. We can't live with it. I mean, you die with it. Of course you can't live with it, right? So in my space, we would create process after process after process to never, ever make a mistake. Wow. And he said, and I've brought that skill set to healthcare. Are you all right with making mistakes? And he had brought that to hospitals. And he'd been working with Children's Hospital, and Children's Hospital's goal was to do no harm. None, ever, zero, nada. And you would think, well, of course that would be a hospital's goal, right? Before they started, they did lots of harm. There were lots of wrong medicine errors. They did procedural errors. People got bed sores. People died over errors. And the goal was to completely eliminate that. That guy's speech, he talked about 4 things. He said, if you want to get better, you've got to focus on quality. And quality is a measure that most of you wouldn't understand. The biggest quality measure is return to hospital. So if I get you in a nursing home, do I send you home or do I send you back to the hospital? When they go back to the hospital, cha-ching, they spend more money. You've probably done something wrong. So the idea, that's the big measure. Who in this room knows how to stop that? It's too big a measure. I don't understand how that works, Mark. What I understand is my little piece of the pie. I know my job is to walk in and do X, Y, Z. And Mark, you don't even have any idea what I'm doing. But your little subset, which we'll call, those metrics we'll call process metrics, the piece that you do, if you do your part well, and you do your part well, and you do your part well, and they don't go back to the hospital, we get this great grade. If I just celebrate quality metrics, you all go, I don't understand. But if I put the word reliability in there, that's your piece of the pie. What do you do every day that's so reliable that guarantees we won't have a bus show up late? What are those little subsets of things that are my responsibility? Frankly, those are more important than the big metric called quality. Now, in the HUD world, how many people are affordable housing people? Something called a REAC inspection, right? What's a REAC inspection, right? I don't know how my effort turns into a good REAC inspection or not, so you don't care about that quality metric, but you do care about whether the financial statements are late, right? If the financial statements are late, that's a ding on a REAC score. Well, how is it that you all go about measuring whether or not your financial statements are done on time or done accurately, right? Timely, all of those things. So we all have a subset in some big measure. Well, the word reliability is you owning that portion of the job that contributes to the mission. Well, what's satisfaction? Quality, reliability. What's satisfaction? In my mind, the world's satisfaction. My job is to have you be completely satisfied at your job. I would tell you that I should be treating you the way I hope you'll treat others. I need to make a huge investment in you. I want the staff satisfaction to raise. We should all want that. Number one discomfort I have right now is turnover. It's eating my shorts, scaring me about that. Why are we not the best place in the world to work? Why would anybody want to work anyplace else? That kind of eats at me, right? So the second one is satisfaction. It includes two satisfaction buttons. One is, are you satisfied? But then the next thing is satisfying the customer. And I would tell you, in both the affordable housing space, the nursing home space, and perhaps even the home health space, maybe the adult day space, sometimes we get in the mode of, I just want to get through the day, I want to do the best I can, and our attitude is not top-notch, right? And the residents feel it. They can feel it. And if they walk out of our space going, it was good care, really wasn't great care, it was a good place to get rehab, really wasn't great, would you recommend us to somebody else? And they say, maybe. That breaks my heart. That will ruin the brand of National Church Residences. Now, you may say that about me, that Mark, I give or take him, as a boss. That should break my heart too. Because if you're invested in me and I'm invested in you, and we have a little kumbaya as a team, and we all like each other, and there's this power that happens, I would call it the Spirit of God, but whatever you want to call it, the power that's in this group, we're going to convey that to the people we serve. And if we serve the people like that and they walk around the neighborhood, frankly, and giving my faith roots, it's like sharing the gospel. You're telling people a good story. And they're going to say, why are you so different? What makes Denise Davis different than someplace else? They're going to say, that National Church Residences, they got a great culture. That's that third button. And then the last button is safety. So those four things, I heard this nuclear physicist share. I go see Karen Twynham and I say, I can't say quality, reliability, satisfaction, and safety, but I know this is going to be part of our future. Give me some way of communicating that, because I think it's going to be really important. Quality at every level is going to be important. Those four things together. And she says, why don't you just say you're pushing the mission forward? That's how it happened.